With the 7th anniversary currently underway and the new units making some impact in PvP, how much has changed in the current meta? Well, to find that out, let's rank the top 10 best units to use in PvP. Starting at number 10, we have Tag, Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla, and Kale. This unit is actually really damn good, and they pair up so well with MUI Goku. I would say the best current iteration of uni reps would probably be MUI Goku alongside this Kale and Caulifla, and Goku and Frieza. Now, it is very strike-oriented. You probably wouldn't want to build it blast-oriented because MUI is so heavily strike-oriented. So, you're not going to be using your Kaba. You're not going to be using Vegeta, unironically. You're not going to be using... This is obviously his personal opinion. This is what I think is the best setup. Just because you have this Caulifla here who has really good disrupt. And what's really cool with what they did with them is that usually the disrupt is shared between the two characters. So like if you pop the disrupt on one character, it's not going to activate on another one, right? But this Kale has the disrupt, and then Caulifla also has a disrupt. So that's two disrupts at 50%. They generate a bunch of green cards, and those green cards allows you to enhance your switch ability, giving you a pseudo lock-in, which is ridiculous. Like, you can actually snipe out characters with that tag switch into the lock-in. It works really well. Being green is obviously really good with so many strong blue units running around, and if you go running around, if you fight against some purple units, you got Caulifla here that can do work on them. They do a lot of damage, obviously. And yeah, just an overall really good 1% character that's continuing the trend of really strong 1% spark unit that we've been getting, which is always nice to see. We already know, Majin Buu are sparking units, 1% sparking units, and they've been pretty much whooping our ass for the past couple of months. So this is a really good sparking unit. So that's number 10. Let's move on to number 9. Coming in at number 9 is, yep, Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta. Now, you might be shocked for me to have a Anniversary Part 1 headliner at the number 9 spot, but it is unfortunately, personally, what I feel is the proper spot for him. I'm just not a fan of this Vegeta. Like, I've been using him a lot recently just to, like, make sure that I'm not missing out on anything, or if he's, like, better than what I think he is. Now, don't get me wrong, he's very good. Anyone in the top 10, anyone in the top 20, honestly, you could probably still run, and you can find success in PvP. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, these units are still very good, right? But there's just stuff in his kit that I'm not a fan of. First of all, he's a range-based unit, a very, very blast-based unit. And typically with these anniversary or celebration headliners, you want to run them together. So this guy, you want to run him with MUI. But their stats are so far, they're so far different from each other. It's so weird. Like, at the very least, if they made this Vegeta somewhat balanced, it would be good, because then you could build him strike-based and then run him with MUI, and that would work out. But no, this guy is very heavily blast-based, and MUI is far away strike-oriented, so that makes, that's pretty weird. And he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't fit the best uni reps setup that I think is currently the best setup. Because if you're not running MUI on uni reps, it's most likely not going to be the best setup, right? But his best team would most likely be alongside Kaba and 17. That's the team I was running the most to try to test him out and see if he's, if he's as good as people say. And he was doing work. Don't get it wrong. He was doing pretty good work, and I actually enjoyed using him a lot, especially in those initial showcases. I really enjoyed using this Vegeta, probably a lot more than MUI, because he was kind of fun to use, right? But he's a unit that obviously you want to combo with, which is weird because that goes against what their design philosophy was moving forward after the Dama releases, but it is what it is. But the biggest issues I have with him is mainly his gauge. Like, that shit takes way too long to fill up. It's kind of ridiculous. He honestly just feels like an Evoken 2.0. It really does feel like that. But once you can get him to his level 3 unique gauge, he can start filling up much faster, and you can actually kind of snowball with him, which is pretty nice. But it's just that getting to that level 3 is really the annoying part. He has pretty decent disrupt. He does destroy 2 enemy cards on initial hit, which is pretty decent, I guess. But I've seen many people mention this as well. UI Goku has the arts cost stacking, which is it's pretty stupid. We're gonna be talking about UI Goku later on because he's another animal. But that arts cost stacking could have easily been translated to this guy, and it would have been pretty nice. They could have somehow made it so, like, at 50%, your unique gauge starts filling up faster. That would be really good. His blue card is so weird. Like, I feel like I'm gonna kill the opponent with this guy's blue card, and then it just does, like, jack shit. I don't understand why his blue card does such little damage. But, maybe it could be the combo compensation kicking in, because you're probably going to be using those blue cards in the middle of a combo. But even then, I feel like his blue card should do a bit more damage. It feels like even in the start of the combos, his blue cards doesn't do that much damage. Not to mention, you actually need to level his unique gauge up to level 3 to get endurance nullification on it. Do you realize how stupid that sounds? Like, MUI Goku gets his endurance nullification on blue, like, straight out the gate, but you need to level this guy up to a level 3 unique gauge just to have endurance nullification. It's so stupid. But yeah, I don't know, he's just a very one-dimensional unit. Like, sure, they wanted to gas up this new unique gauge, like, oh, look at this unique gauge, it goes up to 3 levels, look at this new mechanic, yo, part 1, 7th anniversary, woohoo, but like, it's really not that crazy. It's like, you could have easily just kept this as a regular attack type unique gauge and be like, okay, whenever it fills up, you get this. The second time it fills up, it gets this. The third time it gets filled up, it's basically that. But they went ahead and called it evolve type unique gauge as if it's anything different. But it's pretty much the same. I mean, there's not really much else to say. Like, don't get me wrong, he's still good. I like using him. He does really good damage once you get him rolling. With the Kaba support, it really kicks in. You have to run him with Kaba because then you can really see how much he shines. It's funny because the sparking that it's not really funny. It makes sense, I guess. The sparking that they drop with is kind of like their best partner. Well, MUI is not really Kale and Caulifla is not really MUI's best partner, but they're still a really good partner for MUI. Kaba is a really good partner, probably his best partner for this Vegeta. You can't even run this Vegeta on Vegeta Clan because Vegeta Clan you would want to run, Majin Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Those guys are strike based, though. You could probably build them. You could probably get away with building them blast based. It's just not optimal. So you wouldn't really want to run them on the Vegeta Clan team. God Key, strike oriented, like there's no blast based God Key units. Am I tripping? Or like Zamasu, God Goku, Gogeta, Blue, MUI, they're all strike oriented. Now the one thing I will say is that he does have potential to climb up the ranks depending on how good the Zankai for Revival Goku is. Revival UI Goku, I honestly thought he was going to drop this week, which is why I kind of held back on doing this top 10, but he didn't drop, so it is what it is. Probably dropping next week, but depending on how good he is, I really hope he is. I really hope they give him the justice he needs, because that would be another blast-based option they can use for uni reps. You'd most likely kick out 17 because you'd want the Kaba support. So Kaba, this guy, and the Rev UI would be a really solid trio there. If you want, you can replace Kaba with 17, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then that green unit can pretty much deal with any of the blue units because there's a lot of strong blue units running around. So that Rev UI has the potential to bring this Vegeta up even further. And then hopefully, if that Rev UI is like at least top, 8-ish, I think this Vegeta can definitely go up. But for now, I'm going to have him at number 9. It's unfortunate, but personally, that's where I feel like he deserves to be at. Next on the list is going to be Zankai Goku Mini, or Zankai Dama Goku. This guy, literally, this guy, whenever I fight him, you guys probably, if you watch my videos, you guys probably know, whenever I fight him, I always mention how disgusting his damage is. Straight out the gate, in terms of, like, burst damage, this guy does the most. Originally, I was convinced it was Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, but I've been running into a lot more Dama variants where they don't use Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, but they use this guy instead. And honestly, that might be the wave, because with his lock-in, his little 2 timer counts or 3 timer counts lock-in on entry after you use a card, and then the damage he does, it's just so impactful, it's crazy. He's the fastest unit to get a Zankai, obviously, because they want to give Zankai buffers to the Dime attack. And I mean, honestly, he's just a very strong damaging unit, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing really anything else to say about this guy. I mean, he's a Saiyan Sun Family Dama unit. He runs on some of the best teams in the game, so that obviously helps his value a lot. But he's got disrupts at 50%. He has buff cancellations. He has all the things that would make him very annoying. He's got supporting, which is really good. Like, he's a really well-balanced character with very, very high damage potential. It's crazy. So, I mean, there's not really much else to talk about this guy. It's strictly damage, pseudo lock-in, and that's pretty much it. At number 6, we have Sparking Majin Buu. Now, prior to the 7th anniversary, some people have this guy like at number 1, which honestly, I don't think it's necessarily bad, because the Daima tag specifically is not annoying because of Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Don't get it wrong, he's the best character on the team, but it's annoying because of this guy, and of course paired with Majin Buu or whatever. This guy is special. Now, obviously, Dime Attack did take a slight hit, not a big one, definitely not a big one, definitely not what people make it out to be. They took a slight hit, and so, they kind of regressed, right? But Majin Buu is still annoying as fuck. I mean, there's really not much for me to say about this guy. We already know he's annoying, right? He has The disrupt on cover change destroys at least 7 of your cards, even though you can only hold 4. It'll destroy the next 3 you draw. You get non-stop paralysis, especially if you're the one going up against him. If you're using Majin Buu, you know, you're not going to get the paralysis. But if you go up against a Majin Buu, you can get paralyzed at least 4 times in a match. Faint, for whatever reason, they gave it on his blue card and ultimate. Like, sure, buddy, you can have that. There's just really no reason for this guy to have all these stupid mechanics. There's no reason for a character to have this many dumb RNG-based mechanics. These RNG-based mechanics shouldn't even exist in the first place. But unfortunately, they said, you know, fuck it. Let's just give it all to this one character. And they basically did. So, I mean, there's no point in really talking more about this Majin Buu. We've been fighting this guy for the past 2 months. And it's miserable. It's been miserable. And it's probably going to remain miserable until probably part 3. I can't lie. Dama's probably going to still be ruling. They might even drop Dama characters for part 2, and this guy might skyrocket back into the top 3. Who knows? But I'll have him at number 6 for now. But don't get it twisted. This guy's fucking annoying. Next on the list is going to be Ultra Beast Gohan. Now, I was contemplating on having this guy at the number 5 spot, but you can kind of have it interchanged. I personally will have it I'll give it a slight edge to the person that's next on the list, but you can have it interchanged. You can have him at the top 5 spot. It doesn't really matter. I think he's definitely a top 5 character, but I'll have him at number 6. I mean, Beast Gohan is still very strong. Special Beam Cannon, there's still really nothing like it. Probably is just the single strongest move in the game, most likely, since you're able to just drop it, reset your combo compensation, and it can do maximum damage without them being able to interfere on that. Something I've noticed, I mean, this is something that's been in the game for quite a while, but it just really kicked in, especially when I was grinding with him for God rank last season. It's the 10 time recounts of cover null. That shit is so stupid. 10 time recounts of cover null on entry is just so dumb, and I can understand why they're moving past it and just giving them 5 counts. 10 time recounts is just way too much, man. And a lot of these characters, a lot of the top 10 characters, they have it, but it's so ridiculous because what I would do literally when running this Beast Go on, it was so easy, right? I would basically run him on a movies team with Gogeta Blue and Turles, and whenever I face Dama, you know, we have Super Saiyan 4 Goku that can, you know, nullify or cancel buff effects. You just start off with Turles, get the buff cancellation out, and then switch to Beast Go on, and you have a 10 time recount cover null lock-in, or not lock-in, but combo. And you can just straight up go, and Beast Gohan does a lot of damage, don't get it twisted, he does so much damage. And then if you get a green card, that's even better, you just reset your cover null and you keep going. It's just, that 10 time recount cover null is so ridiculous, and these characters that have it are lasting in the meta for quite a while. Like, MV is still in the meta, this guy's still in the meta, it's been 6 months, 7 months since their release, and they're still thriving with this cover null shit, and I'm glad that they're going away from them because units should not have 10 time recounts of cover null. 5 is fine, and if you have other ways of getting it throughout your kit, whether it be like filling up your gauge or through a green card or whatever, is fine. But just on entry 10 time recounts of cover null is just not it, man. But yeah, Beast Gohan, it's still very high damaging. One thing many people have mentioned is that he can't really take a hit. And I will say, I have him at 14 stars, so it might not be as apparent to me than it is for others. But I don't think I guess he doesn't take hit that well, but he's not, like, completely squishy. I wouldn't say he's completely squishy where to the point that he gets shredded by other units. I don't think so. But even if that was the case, he still has that disrupt, which is really good. Destroys their whole hand and all that stuff, so that's really nice. He has the nullified destroy card effect, which is really good against Dama, which is why I said, like, you swap once the Super Saiyan 4 Goku's buff cancellation pops, you just swap to him, and you don't have to worry about the card destruction. You don't have to worry about the disrupt from Dama. It's just free combos for you until the cover null runs, and it's really damn good, especially against Dama that just constantly switching out. So you're gonna get your hand destroyed eventually, but in the early stages of the fight, not really, because of Gohan's entry, right? So that's really good. Special Beam Cannon, like I said, it basically one-shots the majority of people, unless you're running someone with Revival, Comeback, Succession, Indestructible, whatever the case may be. Anything outside of Endurance, right? So, yeah, I mean, Beast Gohan's still a really strong unit. And yeah, I have him at number 6. You can argue him number 5, but I think number 6 is a pretty solid spot for him. Moving on to number 5, we have Ultra Perfect Sound. This is a character I said you can interchange with Beast Gohan. But I guess you could say it's like a double-edged sword, because there's some really strong yellow units out there in the form of, like, you know, Beast Gohan, Majin Buu, Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla, Ultra Majin Vegeta. You know, there's these characters running around. But on the flip side, there's also a lot of strong blue units like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, MUI Goku. We run into MVP 17, like Goku and Frieza. Like, there's still some really strong blue units also. So you can argue at both sides on whether his typing is truly valuable or not. But I think you definitely need to see some red units in the meta, and he's pretty much the only one you'll see other him and like Kaba. I think maybe people are using Kaba just because he's new right now. We'll have to see in a couple of weeks if people are still using him. I think he's still pretty solid. Don't get it wrong. Kaba's still really good, especially when you run him on that uni rep setup. So you can see Kaba. So but we still need some really strong red units, especially to put in check characters like UMV, Beast Gohan, right? So Cell, he does that really well. My only issue with the Cell, don't get it wrong, he does a lot of damage, ultimate hits. He has the endurance nullification permanently, which means endurance from, characters like MV, MUI, SSBE. It doesn't really matter, which is why you need characters like Goku and Frieza or any other second life mechanic characters to stop this guy's rush, because or else no one can stop it, right? So that's why you need those characters. But yeah, he has that endurance nullification permanently. But yeah, the one thing I don't like about this guy is his unique gauge and the way you have to get his type neutrality. You're able to release the unique gauge pretty early on into the fight, so you're able to get that neutrality pretty fast. But then you have to wait for it to reset completely all the way to a time type, and then you have to wait for the time type to charge up so you can release it again. It's just such a hassle just to get that that neutrality, and I feel like you don't get that neutrality that often, and that neutrality can come in very clutch against these blue units, especially early on the fight. You can do a lot of quick damage to them because his blast cards do hit, and they hit hard, right? But I just feel like if you're able to get that neutrality a bit more consistently, he would be a lot better. But, it is what it is. But other than that, he has really good disrupt. He has endurance, obviously. He has buff cancellation on pretty much everything. I think his biggest, downside would be his team. Like, you would run him on Future, but Future is kind of going down a bit. The main options I would use on Future would be Vegeta Blue and Future Trunks and Gohan. I think it's a solid team, and it can do pretty well. But I wouldn't say it's like the one of the best teams in the game. I would say it's definitely top 5, maybe. But you can also run him, I guess you can run him on a uni rep setup with leader slaughter with SSBE and 17, but then you're missing out on the Kaba support, and you don't want to really run red, purple. I mean, maybe that's a team I might want to try out. That team, red, purple with Kaba and SSBE with this Vegeta leader slaughter. That could be interesting, because you also get the buff cancellation that 17 would provide. You get the endurance that 17 provides, so that could actually be kind of solid. So that's something I would try out. But other than that, I would say yeah, I mean, there's not really much else. I think a lot of people do downplay this Cell. I think he's still very, very good. It's just my main issue is that unique gauge. I'm not a fan of it, how you get that type neutrality out, and that's pretty much the only reason why. But other than that, I think he's a very good unit. I still love using him. So I love using Future with VB and this guy. So number 5 is where we're gonna have Ultra Perfect Cell. Now, the top 4, I would say they're like kind of in a tier above the others. Not in the sense that they completely gap the game, but I just feel like the game is mostly centered around these 4 characters. And at number 4, we're going to have Super Saiyan God Goku. God Goku had such a crazy comeback, man. From being literally the worst anniversary unit of last year to literally being the only one in the top 10, probably top 20, maybe top 30, I don't know. But that he obviously needed all the equipment buffs to get him to this point, but once he got to this point, he stood his ground, and he was staying at the top for a very long time. Very strong strike cards. He goes neutral easily as well. AoE green card, of course, buff cancellations on the blue, on the ultimate, on all that stuff. So he's got everything, right? He's got all of it. His cover null is not as long as the others, but you can get it from the entry after using a card. That is the one drawback. You have to use the card first. It has to hit, and then you can get it. But you can also get it from his green card, which you can force draw from his main ability. He works very well. He runs on pretty much the best teams in the game. I would say probably the best team right now is this guy, MUI Goku, and Ultra Majin Vegeta. That's probably the best team, alongside like Dama. I've seen setups where you're running this guy with UMV and Dama Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I would say the best team would probably require at least MUI Goku, but it is what it is. But yeah, he's probably running the best teams. You can run him on movies, double yellow with this guy, or even God Goku, Turles, and Beast Gohan. He works really, really well with Beast Gohan. Sun Family, or I guess it would be Saiyans or movies with MUI Leader. There's a lot of different possibilities you can run with this guy. He runs with a lot of the best characters in the game, and he's just a really good second or third option on your teams. And you could argue he can, I wouldn't say he's the best. He's never the best unit on his specific teams, but he's a really good second or third option on your teams. Probably the best one at that. So this God Goku, man, I love using him. I'm glad he got the comeback because he definitely deserved it. After we waited, what, 5 years for a new God Goku, ever since the first one, and the second one we got like in 2020 or something, and we finally got it for the anniversary, during the 6th anniversary. He was kind of underwhelming. It's not mainly his fault, but it's mainly because the meta he dropped on. And then in the past, ever since his platinum equipment, he's just been really consistently good, and I'm really glad to see this guy thriving. So number 4, God Goku, I love this guy. Now the next 3, I've seen a bunch of different orderings of these characters in the top 3. I've seen the number 3 guy be the number 1 spot. I've seen him be number 2 spot, and I've seen him be at the number 3 spot. So you pretty much can mix and match these characters, but I'm gonna have it in this order. And number 3, we're gonna have Ultra Majin Vegeta. There's literally no reason for this guy to be up here after how long he's been released. I made a video on him literally yesterday, and this guy, there's no reason for this guy to be up here 7 months ago, and he's top 3 still. Like, what? How does that make sense? Now, you could say he did take a dive once Dama came out, and you didn't really run into him that often, honestly, if I'm being honest. But he got a resurgence because of MUI, and you just run them together, and it's just fucking stupid. Like, I don't get it, but I don't think you guys need me to explain why this guy's dumb, right? AoE green card endurance, lock in on entry, lock in on ultimate, auto counter unique gauge, gives you a blue card. I mean, there's nothing for me to say, man. This guy, he has probably the best kit in the game. Like, he literally is given everything. He's giving everything outside of a counter blue card. Like, that's all. That's literally it. I mean, shit, man. Like, Vegeta clan mains, I guess they're happy because they've literally never seen anything like it before. So they have to keep him. But this guy, like I said in that video, he's reminding me a lot of FSK Gohan. Obviously not to the same degree because FSK Gohan was practically number 1 for almost a year. This guy is not, it's not really that the case. But I mean, I've seen people argue him being number 1 7 months later. So you could make the case that he's similar to FSK, but I wouldn't really put it that far. But this guy is just stupid. I don't know how they can get rid of him. What they have to do, give Red Broly a platinum equipment and make him debuff on auto counter. Give him all of Tree of My Goku's debuff to counters and lock in and no switching to that Red Broly's unique equipment, and make that Red Broly just completely shit on this guy. Like, that would be the best way to get rid of him and make Red Broly like completely meta relevant and give him some justice because he didn't get it on release. But either that or drop a red fusing Super Gogeta that completely shits on this guy. We need those Tree of My Goku debuff style stuff that they gave to him to counter out UG4, but we need it on a red unit, and a red unit that could just completely shit on this guy. So, Majin Vegeta number 3, I hate this guy. Coming in at number 2, we got Super Saiyan 4 Dama Goku. This guy's still pretty damn good. I know some people like to say, like, oh, Dama is finally gone, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. Dama's still very good. Dama's still top tier, and this guy is still very good. You run him with Ku, run him with Dama Kid Goku, and he still does work, okay? Don't get it twisted. They're still ridiculously annoying, and they're still... I mean, I don't think this is a debate. I've seen some debate on it on Twitter about this, but I don't think it's even close. Dama is still the most annoying meta. Like, this MUI Goku quote-unquote meta that we're in is nothing near the Dama shit we've seen, okay? So that shit still aids its cancer. It's stupid, okay? So this Super Saiyan 4 Goku is still ridiculous. He does damage. He has indestructible, cancels buff. That cancel buff, man, is crazy. Paired alongside Majin Buu, there's almost no flaws. There's still almost no flaws to it. So Super Saiyan 4 Goku, not much to say about him. He's still very good. I've seen him being used outside of Dama on like Sun Family builds and stuff like that. And although he could still put work, he obviously is not going to be getting that indestructible that is only limited to Dama characters. Honestly, thank God they gave him that shit. Like, imagine if you start leader slotting this guy on different teams. Like, that would make no sense. I'm so glad they restricted that thing to Dama. I've seen people saying they should not have restricted that to Dama. Like, thank God it's restricted to Dama. That shit should not be allowed on any other team. So screw it. If you want indestructible on another team, use LF Kid Goku. You don't need all the other shenanigans that this guy brings in on your team alongside the indestructible, the last man standing bullshit, the reduced vanish, you're drawing the ultimate and then one-shotting the guy. We don't need any of that on the other teams. So there needs to be some drawback when you're using this guy on another team. And I'm glad it's the loss of Indestructible, because then he's free to get rushed, and you can't really do anything about that. So we have Diamond Super Saiyan 4 Goku at the number 2 spot. Let's move on to number 1. And of course, the number 1 spot is going to be Ultra Instinct Goku, transforming Ultra Instinct Mastered Goku, whatever you want to call it. I do think this guy is the best unit in the game, but like I said, this top 3, I've seen it being mixed around with these guys having various positions within the top 3. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I have him at number 1, but you can have him at number 2 or 3. That's completely fine. But me personally, I have him at number 1. This guy, man, like, he's like a UI Goku unit that we've never seen before. Even though this guy is not really introducing anything new, right? He's pretty much the red MUI Goku, but with a counter. So why did they give him a counter on his green card? I have no idea. They basically gave him the UVB Ultra Vegeta Blue counter, use the green card, and it activates on tap action, strike, blast card, whatever the case may be, and you forge out the blue card. But what UVB didn't have is what this guy has, and it locks you in for no reason. Not to mention, this guy does stupid amount of damage. He does crazy damage. His strikes, they are nukes. I don't get it. He does so much damage. But usually, when we see these Ultra Instinct characters, right, they have the auto dodge, blah, blah, blah. But the downside to that is, like, yeah, you have the auto dodge, but you're also very fragile. So if you get caught, you're kind of cooked, right? Well, luckily for you, this Ultra Instinct Goku does not have that, because he is surprisingly tanky despite being an Ultra Instinct character. He's able to actually take hits, not to mention he increases your arts cost, so that means your combo potential is going to reduce a lot. For what? Why did they give him all this stuff? Why did they give him all this stuff? It actually makes no sense. And then let's talk about his unique gauge. It almost feels like this guy never runs out of unique gauge, because he has so many ways of getting that unique gauge back. It just makes no sense, right? He gets unique gauge on entry, he gets unique gauge on transformation, pre-transformation he gets it on his green card, post-transformation he gets it on his blue card, which he also force draws from the green card. So it's basically like you get one from the green card, but only one time, obviously. He literally heals every time your opponent does an ultimate or a special move, right? So it further adds to sustainability. And it's funny because it also depowers the opponent's big attack, right? And he takes and he takes neutral damage from it. So you're not going to be taking the most damage from those big attacks because they're underpowered because of the arts power reduction. You heal it, you heal 20%, and then you go neutral on it defensively. So you're not going to take as much. Like what? What's the point? And then when your opponent switches, he gets unique gauge. When you have a defeated battle member, he gets the unique gauge. It just feels like he never runs out of that unique gauge, and so you're almost not allowed to attack. Obviously, the best way to get depleted is, with the quick attacks, with the tap attacks, or you just straight up go for your strike or blast card with someone that has type advantage over him. So like with the green unit, right? And that's one way to get rid of it. It just further promotes the passive playstyle, because as a UI character, you don't really need to do anything, because the second he attacks you, you deal damage to them. And his counters, they do insane damage. He does a lot of damage, and so his counter will do a lot of damage as well. Gets his Vanish back on his main ability, which is always really good. Like, Vanish Restoration on a main ability, especially being a UI character, like, what? It makes no sense. And they gave him Endurance just because, fuck it. Vegeta has the Endurance. This guy has Endurance, sure. They could have just kept the Endurance for Vegeta, honestly, and that would have been fine. But no, they had to give UI Goku Endurance as well, which is pretty funny. Now, I do like the fact that on entry, he does remove the card slot seal, which is really, really annoying, especially when you're going up against Dama. They have so many card ceilings. He has the Nullify Abnormal Conditions, so he has ways to deal with Dama. The things that make Dama really annoying, he's basically nullifying that, which is really good, especially when you're using him alongside your other toxic characters. Dude, you run this guy with fucking UMV and God Goku, man. Triple Endurance, 2 of them cancel buffs, 2 of them have AoE damage, AoE green cards. Your green card has a counter, and you have your UI counters. Like, what are you supposed to do against that team? Nothing. You just sit there and you take it. You just take it and you can't do anything about it, man. UI Goku is ridiculous. I think he's very deserves the number 1 spot. I think it's pretty clear that he's the number 1 unit in the game. The game revolves around him. He's on the best team in the game. So I personally think he's the number 1 unit until we eventually get the Part 3 Ultras. I don't think the Part 2 units are going to... I mean, it's possible. Don't get it wrong. It's possible. Ultimate Gohan last year, he had a very clear case to be the best unit in the game during Part 2. So it's definitely possible Part 2 can dethrone them, but I don't think so. Part 3 is most likely going to, but we're going to be stuck in this MUI Goku meta for a minute until Part 3, so probably a month. But for me, it's very clear-cut. This guy's the best unit in the game, and he's pretty fucking stupid, man. What did they do with this guy? I have no idea. But if you guys want to see a more generalized tier list of how I would structure the top 10 alongside some honorable mention, here it is. I would have the Z tier like the top 4, and then S tier would be those guys. And I added some honorable mentions to a tier 2 and tier 1. You know, Kaba, LF Kid Goku, Super Saiyan 3, Vegeta, Goku, and Frieza. 17 is good. Transforming Super Saiyan 3 you can work with. Transforming Vegeta Blue is a great counter to MUI. Succession, Future Gohan, and Trunks do. These are all very good units. That's why I'm saying, like, you can rock even the top 20 characters and still find success. So you don't necessarily need the top 10. It's just the top 10 units are what's dictating the current meta, right? You could still perform very well with characters outside of the top 10. So don't get it twisted. If a character you like is not top 10, it doesn't mean he's bad, unless they're actually bad. But there's a lot of good characters you can still use in this meta. So I guess have fun fighting against MUI Goku and UMV together. Whoopee.